and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and violin tutor. So first of all, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. So this video goes out to all of those who have received a brand new violin for Christmas and you've just unwrapped your brand new violin. It's all very exciting, but you have absolutely no clue where to start, what to do. You haven't got anything, so you're frantically, desperately looking on YouTube to try and find some videos to just figure out what to do. So this video goes out to you guys, and what I've got here is a brand new violin. This is a violin that I've never actually taken out of the box, so I have no idea what the tuning is going to be like, but I wanted to try and kind of replicate this video as close as I can to what it is going to be like for you guys to unwrap the violin, open the box, get the violin out of the box, and you know what do you do next. So this video is going to be for you guys. What I'm going to do, because this video might end up being sort of a little bit long, but I will timestamp the video underneath as well. I will also put video clips coming up if there's any videos that I want you to refer to, the much longer version, because obviously I don't want to go into too much detail in this video. This is just enough to kind of get you started so that there's no frustrations that go with opening up a brand new present and you've got all the frustrations of just not being able to get on with it straight away. I get that. So timestamps will be underneath this video. Links to all the videos will be underneath the description as well. So head under there. Everything I mention in the exact order, timestamps, that kind of thing will be underneath this video. So let's get going. So you've just opened up your violin and this is what you've got. And as I said, this is a brand new violin for myself. This is one that I was just sent many years ago, and you know, one that I've just had in just sitting in the loft. So this is a brand new violin itself. Now, when you get your violin out of the box, you're probably going to find that it really isn't going to be in tune. So the first thing we're going to do after we do the bow is we are going to tune the violin. So this is what the violin is going to come like completely out of the box. So we'll sort that out in just a second. But the first thing I would do, if it were me, is put the bridge up. Now, I can't really demonstrate on this because there is a bridge up on here, and I will direct you to another video where I am putting up a bridge on a brand new violin. So if you want to know how to do that, then head down in the description underneath, pause this video, go and watch that. You can put the bridge up. But for those of you that have a bridge already on the violin and everything looks fine, then you can just carry on, you know, in this video. If you do find, as I just did just there, that the strings don't really, the two outer strings don't seem in line with the fingerboard, you can just very carefully, so you see, I'm not sure you didn't see it, I just did it off camera, but I just held the violin on my knee and held the violin like this with kind of the sides of my hands, and with my thumb and my index finger, I just moved the bridge ever so slightly across. So try not to sort of fiddle about with it too much, but you can just sort of, you can tweak the violin left to right. And also what you want to do is hold it down at the bottom where the feet are. Don't sort of hold it at the top or anything like that. You just sort of want to hold it where the feet are so that it doesn't kind of tip over. But you only want to do that if it has ever so slightly moved, which it may well do in traveling. So that's all I did for that, and I'll come back to tune that in just a second. Okay, so when you've got the bow out, just be careful getting the bow out, because sometimes you might find the hairs attached to the little kind of the little twisty secure lock that's in there. So once you've got the bow out, it's going to look like this. Now obviously you can't play like this, so what you're going to do is take the end and you're going to twist it, maybe a little bit tight or a little bit stiff, but that's fine. Just tighten the hair like so. If you end up having a few looser hairs, don't worry about it, you can just sort of take them off. So depending on the type of violin you've got, you might find this quite difficult to do. So sometimes it helps if you have something like a tissue to just help you grip on the end. Now I've got a loose hair, I don't know if that's coming out on camera, you can actually see it there. So I've got a loose, I really don't know if this is coming out, I've got a loose hair that's hanging down. Don't know if you can, hopefully that's focusing there, but I've got a loose hair that's hanging down. So what I'm going to do, being careful not to touch too many of the hairs, I'm just going to grab it And just at the bottom, you can use a pair of scissors for this. So at the very bottom, I'm just going to sort of try and just nip it off as close to the bottom as I can. And then we've got the hair. Again, I don't know if this is coming out on camera or not. And then I'm just going to kind of gently pull it at the top as well, and that's it. So I'm just going to get rid of that. So you shouldn't, in all honesty, have too many of those loose hairs. It can be a bit of a problem if you do, but you know, if it's just sort of the odd 1, 2, 3, just gently kind of take them off. Just use a pair of scissors if you're not sure, because you don't want to sort of be pulling too many out at the same time. Now I've tightened this, and as you can see, I've got a little bit of a bend in the bow. So I've got a bend in the bow sort of just off center, so it's just slightly towards the tip of the bow here. We've got a little bit of a bend here. What we don't want to over tighten it. So what people tend to do is over tighten it. So I don't know if you can see that, but the bow is going to be more or less straight and the hair is straight, and we've got no dip in the middle. So we've got the same thickness at the top, pretty much going all the way down to the bottom. Now that's too much. So what you want is to undo that and just loosen it a touch. We don't want the hairs to be, you know, flapping about in the wind like a flag, but we just want a kind of a little dip in the middle. So we want a bit more of a gap there. You can use it by just sort of popping in your index finger or your little finger if you've got larger hands. So you want a slightly bigger gap here, and then you want it to kind of close in the middle. So now it's kind of, the bow is pretty tight around my finger, but here it's sort of, you know, it's much looser. Then it's tight, and then it's sort of getting looser there. So I know that I've got a bit of a bend in there. I think I might just loosen that just a touch more, because I do want a bit more of a bend. Okay, so that is the bow. The next thing that you want to do is learn how to hold the bow properly. So I'm just going to very, very quickly show you, but what I'm going to do is direct you to this video here, and I will number this video and I will have it linked directly underneath. So go and watch that video, because that video is purely dedicated on how to hold the bow. As I said, this is just going to be a very quick snapshot video to get you started, so that you know exactly what you're doing and you're not just grabbing the violin any old how and just making a load of kind of nonsense noise on it. So how you're going to hold the bow is going to be something like this, okay? Now, again, I'm not going to show you how to do that, but go and check this video out here, and it's linked underneath, and that will show you how to hold the bow. So that's the next thing that you need to do. Next thing you need to do after that is learn how to hold the violin properly. So I'm going to put the bow down for a second, and again, I'm going to direct you to this video coming up here, also linked underneath. And this is going to show you exactly how to hold the violin. But very, very briefly, we want it sort of out to the side at around about somewhere between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. So think about your clock face, got 12 o'clock in the middle. I know this is probably going to be slightly backwards to you guys watching it on camera, but for me, you've got 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5, and so on. So we don't want to be holding it out at 12 o'clock. That would be wrong to do. And we don't want to be holding it out at 9 o'clock, because it's too far out to the side. So sort of somewhere between 10 and 11, and that's where we want to hold it. Okay, so again, if you go and check out the video that's coming up here or linked underneath, that will tell you exactly how you need to hold the violin. So we've got the violin out of the case, we've sorted out the bow. That was the first thing. Second thing is the violin. Third thing we're going to do is we need to rosin the bow. So when you put the bow on the violin, it's going to sound like this. You're not going to get a very nice sound, or you're not going to get any sound out of it at all. The reason why you're not going to get any sound out of it is because you must rosin the bow. So I always say to students or people when they're buying violins, that when you get the rosin in your case, that you should really get rid of the rosin from that case and buy something better. But obviously, if you guys haven't been bought a much better rosin, which a lot of people won't have done, then I would say 99% of the time you're going to have some rosin already in the case. So that would be fine to use that, but very, very quickly or as soon as possible, what I would do is just buy yourself something a little bit nicer. I like Sartori rosin, which is this one. And you guessed it, if you check one of these videos coming up now, that will show you exactly how to rosin the bow. It will tell you everything. So everything you need to know about rosining the bow. So I'm not going to use the rosin that's come with the violin today. I'm going to use the rosin that I normally use on my bow, just because the main reason is that this is going to be a brand new rosin as well. So what you might want to do, a little tip, when you get your rosin, it's going to be all really nice. Going to be really nice and shiny, so you're going to find it very, very difficult to get the rosin to grip on this bow. And that's another reason why people, they will apply rosin on the bow. They know they've got to apply rosin on the bow, and then they'll say that they've been applying rosin for about 10 minutes and there's still little to no sound on the violin. That's generally because you've got a cheap synthetic bow. You know, if you're buying sort of like a cheap student violin, which is fine, you know, it's enough to get you going, isn't it? But also the rosin isn't going to be very good quality either, so the two mixed together, it's just very, very, very difficult to actually get the rosin to grip on the bow. So what you can do is just find something just to rough up the surface of this. I'm not going to do that for the purpose of this video because A, I don't want to, and B, I already have a rosin that's already up and ready to go. So you'll find as well that it will take less rosin to get this going if you've got something a little bit nicer. So what I'm going to do is just put some rosin on the bow. Okay, so that literally just took me just a few seconds just to do that, really. And now I'm just going to try and see what that's like. Okay, so what I would probably do at this point is maybe just to put a little bit more rosin on, but other than that, I think that we're good to go. So don't forget to check out that video on how much rosin to put on. It'll be coming up here and linked underneath as well. But also, if you have good quality rosin, it isn't going to take you any time at all to put the rosin on a brand new bow, because the rosin itself is really good. If you're just using the rosin that comes with the box, then it's going to take you a lot longer to do that. So that's where it can be a little bit more frustrating. But obviously if you don't have anything on Christmas Day and you're just so keen and eager to get going, then when you get your rosin, just use something to just rough up the surface. So you can use, I don't know, maybe if you've got a little bit of sandpaper, a nail file, so anything to just rough up the surface of this, because if you go straight in with this, you'll just find it'll just take, trust me, it'll just take you forever. So okay, so the next thing we're going to do is tune the violin, and this is probably the hardest part, and this is the part that most people don't like. So again, you guessed it, I've got a video specifically on tuning the violin. So stop this video, go ahead and watch that, and that will tell you how to tune the violin. But if I tell you how to do that in a nutshell, basically what you're going to need is some sort of sound of A. So you can use a piano, you can use a tuning fork, you can use another instrument, anything that you've got to hand. Now if you don't have anything to hand, I've also made a video with sounds of each of the 4 strings. So you've got the smallest one on the right is E string, then A string, then D string, and then G string is the thickest one on the left. E, A, D, and G. Now I will put links to videos where I've just got like a consistent sound. I've got a consistent E sound video, consistent A sound, D sound, and G sound. So for those of you that don't have any other means of tuning this up or getting the sound of each of those strings, head to those videos and those will help you do that. So what you'll need to do is get the sound of those notes and then just use the pegs to tune them. Just be careful if you are using a student quality violin, because the pegs aren't always set up quite so nice. So you will break a string if you yank the peg too far too soon. For those of you that are guitarists, steady on. The violin is absolutely nothing like a guitar, so do not treat the violin like a guitar. They're not geared heads anyway, they're not geared peg heads, so you can't just you know, you can't just yank them and they're absolutely fine. They're not going to be like that. If you do it like that, then you will break the string. The E string, the smallest one on the right, is always the culprit that people break, and that's because they do not tune it slowly. So by slowly, I mean sort of really, you know, you can kind of hear it there. It's just, it really is just going the smallest amount. So you don't want to be tuning it. Okay, so when you've tuned the violin as much as you can by using the pegs, so you're going to have to move the pegs, and obviously it depends on how much it's out of tune by, then what you will do is you can then use the fine tuners to just finely tune it. So the pegs will get you where you need to go, but then the fine tuners will kind of finely tune it. So this is about as much as it's going to go with the pegs, and then I'll just do the rest with the tuners. So what you will find is that as you're tuning, that the rest of the strings will sort of go out of tune a little bit as well. So you're going to have to sort of start from the E, A, D and G, but by the time you get back to the E string might be slightly out. So it's going to take you a little while to tune everything in. What you might find that helps is if you get something like a little tuner. Again, this is mentioned in my tuning video, which I'll have linked underneath, but this will help you get a good tune. This isn't the cheapest of all the tuners, but I really personally like it because it actually sits on the side of the violin, so it actually picks up much better vibrations than the ones that kind of clamp on the pegs. But I mean, if that's all you've got, that's all you've got. It's still better than nothing. But tuning a brand new violin that hasn't been tuned before is just going to take a little while, and you are just going to have to keep tuning it. So you'll probably find that even though you start to play it 5 minutes in, you might have to just retune the strings again. So it's a good idea if you do have something like this, one of these little tuners, which I will link underneath, that you perhaps just keep it on and you can just sort of keep tuning the violin. The more you play a violin out of tune, the worse it is for the vibrations of the violin. But not only that, it's very detrimental to your playing as well, because you're getting used to the wrong sound of the strings. So that's probably enough. So after that, then you're going to actually want to start playing the violin. So this is where I would end this video, and I will then direct you over to my 1 to 30 violin video course or violin lesson course that I have already done a little while ago and is already out there on the internet. And basically what that is I will teach you to play the violin in 30 lessons. So it is a series of books that you can actually see behind me here. So a series of books that spans over 10 lessons. The first 10 lessons, the green one is the second 10 lessons, so 11 to 20, and then you've got 21 to 30. And each of those lessons, after the 10 lessons, they come with a songbook. And you will be learning from absolute scratch. You don't need to know anything about anything. So this is ideal for you guys that are first starting out, and you'll go through the lessons, and by the time you get to lesson 30, I absolutely guarantee that you will be playing like a very decent, accomplished intermediate violin player. I 100% guarantee that because I absolutely stand by my violin course. So the good thing about it is that it's a completely 100% downloadable course. So the link to purchase these books will be underneath this video, but basically you purchase the book series and you watch the videos on YouTube. Now all the videos are free, so you can go and watch the videos now before you even start the course, before you spend any money, to see if it's the sort of thing that you like, see if you like my teaching method, you know, see if you gel to the way that I teach it. I'm a classically trained violinist, so I do have a very sort of different way of teaching, I suppose, than most teachers on the internet, but I do guarantee results if you follow my course, obviously. And you can go and check out the reviews of all the books from my shop to see what people have said, and I'm sure people who've bought my books will comment underneath this video and tell you how great they are anyway. So the beauty is that all of these books are downloadable. They're 100% downloadable. I have just printed these books out on my home printer myself, and I've just bound them together. So they're not physical books, they're printed books, and you can buy these anywhere in the world as long as you've got the internet and a printer. In fact, you don't even need a printer, because if you've got an iPad or a tablet or something, you can just have a look at the books there. So you don't even need to print them out. You can literally get going the second you've bought the books, and then all the links to the videos you need are in the books, either via links that you can click on the computer, or they do actually have QR codes that you can scan on the camera on your phone, and that will open up the appropriate video. You don't have to watch the videos with these, but the videos are just it just makes the books a little bit more interactive, doesn't it? So almost like I am kind of there with you in the room, and as I'm talking about each lesson, you can then be following the books and you can hear me demonstrate the pieces and all that kind of good stuff. But the real exciting part is the fact that the first 10 lessons are absolutely free. So you can do the first 10 lessons, you can get yourself off and going, and then you can see if you want to buy the rest of the book course. So after the first 10 lessons, all of the links and resources that you need are free in PDF form. So all the links to those are underneath each individual video lesson whenever they're appropriate. After you've done the first 10 lessons with everything, all the resources that you need, you'll then move on to Songbook 1, and this is just 10 pieces that I've arranged that are the exact level of everything that you will have learned in lessons 1 to 10. After you've done that, you will then move on to Violin Book 2, and this will teach you loads more things. So you'll be learning things like scales, where the second finger goes, other notes on the violin, arpeggios, up bows, down bows, slurred bows, all that kind of stuff, kind of a lot of the technical stuff. After you've done those lessons 11 to 20, you'll then move on to Songbook 2 with 10 pieces that are the level of Book 2. Then Book 3, more technical work and more stuff to learn, and that takes you through lessons 21 to 30. And then you'll move on to Songbook 3, which those pieces are at the same level as lessons 21 to 30. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you're all enjoying your Christmas day so far. Don't forget to check all the links underneath, and this should be enough to get you going on Christmas Day. And then after that, you can follow the first 10 lessons completely free. And if you like those lessons, then you can head on over to my shop, purchase and download the rest of the course, where I guarantee to take you from a complete beginner to a very decent, accomplished intermediate player. So if you have any questions, or if you're having any troubles with the violin, tuning it, anything like that, pop them in the comments underneath and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you for watching. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Hope you all have a good new year, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.